Hello and welcome everyone, this is Nia and today I will show you a build for the support and healing Templar in the Elder Scrolls Online 1 Real. Every member of a group has to do their job in order to be successful. And one of these jobs is the part of healing and supporting. This is what I will talk about today. While playing ESO in random parties, I often encountered players that think the only thing a healer can and has to do is healing, but this is wrong. Healers can be so much more. We got a lot of buffs and sustain support for the rest of our group. Unfortunately, a lot of players totally forget about this, and this is why I made this guide. Some really nice buffs can be achieved just by using the correct gear. In this build we will not use any monster sets, so we will have 2 5p set bonuses available. The set that we will always use is Spell Power Cure. This set can be looted from chests and named enemies in the Imperial City DLC dungeon White Gold Tower. As you can see, this set will buff our allies with 258 weapon and spell damage. This effect will buff up to 6 party members upon receiving healing when they are on full health. Additionally, we get a lot of maximum magicka and some spell damage for our own too. The first optional set we have is the Infallible Ether. This set has a very nice 5 set piece bonus. Whenever you use a heavy attack, the enemy will get a debuff that allows our allies to deal 8% more damage for 10 seconds. It is best to get the jewels and 2 armor pieces for this, since you can get golden jewels in veteran trials. For the enchants I use increased maximum magicka on our armor pieces and reduce magicka cost on the jewels or increase magicka regeneration. However, there is a glitch on the Infallible Ether set that you should know about. Channeled heavy attacks of the healing or lightning staff will trigger the debuff on the second tick of the damage. This way you don't need a fully charged heavy attack to debuff the enemies. Our second optional set is the Worm set. This set gives a massive bonus to magicka sustain for us and our allies. The 5p set bonus reduces the magicka cost for all skills, even for our party members. You should have this set in your raid if you have many magicka damage dealer. It is possible to buy the golden jewels on a weekly vendor in Citadel, if he sells them of course. The third and last optional set is the Twilight Remedy. The 5p set bonus is not as strong as the 2 other optional sets, since it doesn't affect everyone in the raid, but it is still an option. When you have mostly stamina based damage dealer in your raid and the other healer is already using the Infallible Ether set, you should use the Twilight Remedy. Every synergy that is triggered by anyone else will give them a major force buff that will increase the critical damage dealt by this person. You can get the same buff from the aggressive Warhorn skill. For the weapons we will use Master Weapons. The Master Healing Staff is in my opinion the strongest healing staff in the game. It restores a bit of stamina each time you use healing springs. For the trade you should either go precise, which I would prefer, or powered. For the off bar you want either a second Master Healing Staff or a Master Lightning Staff, depending on what skills you will use. Master weapons drain their enchantments fast. Luckily there is a glitch. Even if your enchantment is empty, the master weapon will still work. So save your soul gems and walk around with empty enchants. For the back bar it doesn't really matter what weapon or trait you will use. Ground based AoE healing or damage spells are getting real time buffs. So even if you cast an extended ritual with a level 1 healing staff and switch to your CP 160 master healing staff front bar, the extended ritual will use the front bar weapon damage, crit and weapon trait to adjust the healing. However, it is nice to have master weapons on both bars since you get a good amount of maximum magicka from them. Okay, now let's have a look at the skills we need. For our main bar we will use Healing Springs. This is your low cost spammable area of effect heal. This spell will do most of your healing. As second spell we will use Combat Prayer. This is another heal that does a lot of healing for really low cost. Additionally, it buffs your party more damage and more defense. You want to keep this up all the time. The third spell is Energy or Mystic Orbs. If you are doing more 4-player content, go for the Mystic Orbs. In Trials you should have the 2 healers using different kind of orbs, since the magicka return of the same orbs are not stacking. But if you have both kinds of orbs, you can have both kinds of magicka return buffs up. The 4th skill we will use is Inner Light. We just use the passive that gives you crit and maximum magicka. The last skill is Breath of Life. This is your emergency heal. Only use this if the other skills won't save the day anymore. So basically, when you don't know where exactly the guy is that needs healing or if he's out of range for a quick combat prayer. For the ultimate, go for Meteor. We use this for the major skilled passive to increase your magicka pool. You can swap this for Nova too if you want, just to get another emergency spell of course. For the backbar, we will use shards. The Morphia doesn't really matter, throw this to your stamina DDs and the tanks to provide them additionally resources. As second skill, you want Elemental Drain. This is the reason why we use Destruction Staffs on the back bar. We use this skill to help the magicka DDs sustain themselves. Each time they deal elemental damage, they will get some magicka back. Make sure to debuff every enemy with Elemental Drain. Also never let it run out on the enemies. If you have another healer in your party using this, swap your Destruction Staff for a second Healing Staff and replace Elemental Drain for Siphon Spirit. As third skill, we will use Repentance. This is a no-cost heal that also restores stamina if you have dead bodies around you. Make sure to use this during the combat to provide stamina to your party. Can be swapped for Purge if needed. The fourth skill will be Extended Ritual. This skill will apply some passive effects we will talk about later. For the last skill, use Power of the Light. This is the only skill that applies Minor Breach and Fracture at the same time. Keep it up whenever possible. As ultimate, go for the Aggressive Warhorn from the Alliance War skill line. This will increase the resource pool of your party and also gives them a damage buff for up to 10 seconds. So now let's have a look at all the passives we will make use of. At first there is Balanced Warrior. This will give us additional weapon damage and spell resistance. Enduring Race will buff the time our Nova is active if we use it. Prism gives us additional ultimate points each 6 seconds when we activate Power of the Light. Illuminate will give us and the party a minor sorcery buff, increasing the spell damage each time we use Power of the Light. Restoring Spirit lowers all our costs for skills. Mending will help us to rescue low health allies since they get additional healing. Sacred Ground is the reason we use Extended Ritual for. While we stay in this large AoE heal, we get major mending buff. This increases our healing done by 25%. Also, all enemies standing inside the ritual get slowed, but take care, this is considered as CC and will make enemies immune to other CC, for example the Dragon Knight chains. Light Viewer is the only passive of the healing skill tree we don't use at all. Master Ritualist. If you use it, something went wrong. Try again. For a race you can select either Argonian or Breton. Both make fine healers. Bretons bring a lot of magicka, skill cost reduction and spell resistance to the table. Argonians on the other hand got increased healing done, a buff to maximum magicka and HP, additional resources whenever they use a potion, and last but not least, higher swim speed. For the global passives you want to have all healing staff passives since they increase our sustain and healing done. The destruction staff passive are not necessary but nice to have. You also want to have all light armor passive skills since they increase our sustain a lot. Medium and heavy armor passives are not necessary on this build since we use 7 pieces of light armor only. The most important passive for the mage guild is the magicka controller. This is the only passive we can use effectively. The Undaunted passive is also nice to get. For the Undaunted command, you get some resources back every time you use a synergy, and the Undaunted metal will buff your stats by 2%. And last but not least, you should get the Alchemy passive Medicinical Use. This will buff your potions even more. You should get a CP 150 food which increases your health and magicka. This is cheap to craft, but you will make good use of it. For potions, go spell power potions with spell critical if you don't use Mage Light. This can be achieved by combining Lady Smog, Cornflower and Water Hyacinth. If you have Mage Light on your bar, just get rid of the Water Hyacinth and you will have ordinary spell power potion. For the TP, we will put 100 points into Magician. I also put 5 points into Tenacity, 1 point into Tumbling and the rest into Alchemist. The blue ones are fairly easy. Put all you get into Blast and the rest into Elfborn. The red CP are a bit split up. We want 100 points into Elemental Defender, since the most damage he will receive is magically. I also put 35 points into Hardy, 10 points into Quick to Land to get the protection while resing allies, and the rest go to Spell Shield. For the Mundus Stone, I use the Sieve to get increased critical strike chance. Also viable would be the Ritual to get increased healing, or the Shadow to make your crit higher. To show the efficiency of this build, we did 2 runs on normal AA trial with 2 DDs, 1 tank and me as the supporter. The first run we didn't use any buffs. The only thing we used was the elemental drain for the sustain of the magicka DDs. can see in the detailed damage report, the fight took about 2 minutes and 50 seconds to kill the Atronach. The first DD did 32.4k DPS and the second one 31.5k DPS without buffs. And now we started the fight again with every buff we got. So the Spell Power Cure, the Infallible Ether, the Power of the Light, Alkosh, and the Warhorn. And here the results are shown below. The first DD got 44.1k DPS, that's an increase of 11.7k DPS. And the second one got 40.7k DPS, that's an increase of 9.2k DPS. In average, this is a 10k increase of the DPS for every DPS guy on the raid. So basically, the healer is doing the most damage at all. And in the end, I want to say thank you to everyone helping me during this video. Thank you for watching, good luck raiding, and have fun in Elder Scrolls Online.